Hey guys, welcome to or welcome back to our very bookish channel. We read 3 more Freida McFadden books, so this is going to be our second Freida McFadden reading vlog. So in this vlog, you're gonna see we read 3 more Freida McFadden books. We read her newest one, The Coworker. We read Do Not Disturb, and we read The X. So you can see that. So I did read these books on vacation, so you guys are gonna get a little bit of a travel vlog in there. You're gonna see where we went. We went to the beach, and I was able to get lots of reading done. I read all 3 of the books on vacation. In fact, The Coworker was released on a Tuesday, and I was going out of town starting that Thursday, so I actually had this book shipped, pre-ordered, and shipped to my mom's house because we were going to my mom's house to drop off my dogs so she could watch them while we're on vacation. And so I actually get to open this package at my mom's house. These other books, I read them the whole week I was on vacation. I got all 3 of them read. They were very fast reads, so I hope you guys enjoy the vlog. Here we go.
So I get to start our Freida vlog today. I'm really excited because there's been so much hype about The Coworker, which I picked up, as you guys saw. And we're doing 2 others, Do Not Disturb and The X. She has many more. I actually want to read The Wife Upstairs a lot too. I think it's available to order, but I haven't been able to find it, and I honestly don't really like ordering on Amazon. But I was trying to figure out which one of these I wanted to start with, and I think I'm going to start with The Coworker just because it's being talked about so much right now, and I try to avoid spoilers a lot. I follow her Facebook group, and of course they're talking about this one a lot. And I love going into her Facebook group because they do have suggestions for other psychological thrillers, and I like to see what people talk about. But also Freida, she's hilarious. So she's a personality, and I like seeing her posts on there too. So I'm gonna start with The Coworker. I don't know which one I'm gonna do next, but this one I'm getting a chance to start today. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys, I do have a hair appointment in just a couple hours that I'm going to. In July, we had done cancer awareness every day, and I did share that I had struggled with cancer. That was back in 2020. I had ovarian and endometrial cancer. I had to go through chemotherapy, and I was completely bald, and one of the effects of growing your hair back out is you end up getting what's called chemo curls, and I have struggled with that since I got my hair back for the past 3 years. It's been a struggle handling my hair, but in the grand scheme of things, I really watch how much I complain or say anything negative about it, because ultimately I just want to be grateful for my health and the fact that I was able to battle it, and it's been gone now for 3 years. So I don't want to dwell too much on that, but I wanted to share, especially since the next video I'm going to have a new haircut. For the first time in 3 years, I only had a small trim, and I don't even remember when that was, because it mostly was coming out different texture, and it was doing strange things other than the curls. And I had one trim at some point to help it. It was growing like kind of unevenly because I was completely bald, and then it was growing out afterwards, thank God. And I try not to dwell too much on the hair because I do feel like that can be superficial, but I really had hair as long as this. I have been letting it go because I have had a hard time thinking of cutting it. So today, landmark day, I'm deciding to cut it. I'm probably going to do somewhere around shoulders unless I chicken out. So the next time I make a video for this Freida vlog, I am going to have my new hair and hopefully it looks okay. But if not, it's also okay because it'll grow. And at least, again, I have my health. So I'll see you the next time I do a video for when I'm reading The Coworker. All right, I'm back and feels healthy. She straightened it, but I can already tell my hair wants to curl. I'm just gonna let it curl, let it do its thing. I don't really care if it's straight or curly as long as it's not humid and the curls are out of control. But I'm really happy and I like it. So starting this now. I'm very, very excited, and here we go into Freida, the first one, The Coworker. All right, I am laughing because I started The Coworker and I'm only like 30-40 pages in, and I was smiling because they keep mentioning the fact that the one character, Dawn, loves turtles. And I was laughing because I follow Freida McFadden's group on Facebook, and she had been posting about turtles, and I didn't really follow at first why she was posting about turtles, but I think she was leaving like Easter eggs, I guess, for this book. I don't think she said that there was going to be turtle, and I have a feeling that turtles end up being a big part of this book beyond what I just read. And I just looked on Facebook because I was trying to remember the post that I had seen, and she actually made a whole other group and she named this turtle Sheldon. It was a ceramic turtle. So very interesting. I'm wondering how the turtle will figure into any twists. I guess we'll find out. Okay, there's a lot of turtle stuff going on, and it's making me laugh. And also, coincidental fun fact, in college I had a pet turtle named Tucker. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And I know that she had, Freida McFadden had an inside joke with her fans on the Facebook group So I know some of this might be that, but I keep feeling like something is going to tie into a plot twist. Secondly, I wanted to make a video. I have a prediction. I'm over 100 pages in, and I'm getting a lot of Gone Girl vibes. I think that Dawn is setting it up to make it look like Natalie killed her. I'm not sure if that's going to pan out because I always hesitate doing any kind of theories with Freida because she has so many twists, and a couple things already happened that I knew were going to happen, but I feel like sometimes she sets you up to think you really know what's going on, and even trying to give you like, oh yeah, you're on the right trail, and then she switches it up. But that's my prediction right now, is that Dawn is pulling a Gone Girl and she's setting Natalie up. Let's see if I'm right.
Hey guys, so we just got to the beach yesterday. We got in around 3 in the afternoon, so we kind of had a half day yesterday. I started reading The X by Freida McFadden on my way down. I pre-ordered The Coworker, so I have a physical copy of that book, but I downloaded The X and Do Not Disturb to my tablet because I didn't want to be lugging around a whole lot of books on vacation. So I do have both of those on my tablet, and I did have a library hold on Do Not Disturb that came in the day before we left. So I do have a physical copy of that. And the digital copy that I downloaded on my tablet. So that's my update for the books. I did start The X on the way down yesterday, and I'm really enjoying it. I keep reading. I'm just devouring this book. I'm about 70% of the way through, so I'll probably be finishing that book up today. In The X, you're following a woman. She's in her mid-30s. She's been dating this guy for like a decade. He's the love of her life. He's a doctor in New York City. They live together in a nice apartment, and she works, I think, as a waitress at a restaurant. She is a good cook, and I know she said she's had dreams of owning her own restaurant, but then later someone did say she owned a restaurant, but I know she doesn't have a lot of money. But she's working as a waitress in this Italian restaurant, and she is ready for her boyfriend to propose to her. Her baby sister has gotten married. All her friends are gotten married and starting to have kids, and she's ready. She's ready to get married. She's ready to just, live the rest of her life with this man of her dreams. And he calls her out to dinner, and she thinks he's going to propose, but he breaks up with her. So, and that's in the prologue. That's all just in the prologue, in like a page and a half. It's really kind of funny to read. Not funny that she got hurt, but just funny the way the way Freida writes it, it's kind of humorous. So, there's that. And so they break up, and about 6 months after they break up, he starts dating another girl, and she's sort of just a younger version of the girl he broke up with. So the woman that was heartbroken, she looks similar to her, and his ex-girlfriend starts tracking him and following him, and she starts stalking him a little bit with this app on his phone. And then when she finds out he's dating a new girl, she starts kind of stalking that new girl and harassing her in inconspicuous ways. And it's just so much fun to read. I'm kind of like, right now, I'm not sure, like, who's the crazy one. Like, is the ex the crazy one? Is the new girlfriend the crazy one? Is the guy the crazy one? I don't know. Right now, the guy seems pretty normal, and these two girls seem a little bit crazy, but you just don't know with Freida McFadden. The twist and turn can come, and I'm about 70% in, so I think that the twists and turns are coming, and I cannot wait to finish this book. I will vlog me reading. It is really rainy today, and I'm about to run out and get donuts, but when I get back, I will vlog me reading the book either on the balcony of our condo or when the rain passes down at the beach.
had to share a line because it cracked me up from the Coworker. And the line is, "I am as terrified as anyone could possibly be of a turtle figurine that's 3 inches long." Told you there are turtles in this. But I'm still riveted because I want to figure it out. And I want to know if I'm right about the Gone Girl aspect. But I'm sure there's going to be more twists. So let's see what happens.
Okay, it is book update time. Yesterday, I finished The X, and I really enjoyed that book. It was more of just your typical thriller. There was one big twist and some little twists at the end. If you've read the book and you watched my last part where I was speaking in my car about the book, then you will see that I didn't get the twist. If you've read the book and you listened to the last thing that I said about the book, what was going on, then I did not get the twist. I really didn't see it coming. Looking back on it, I probably should have, but it did get me. It got me. And, I haven't read thriller books in a while. I've read some horror books and some cute kind of YA books like The Wishing Game and Divine Rivals, but I really haven't read many thrillers lately. That's the first thriller I've read, and it got me. So very good. I enjoyed that book. As always, Freida's writing is so easy to read, and the book goes quickly. I am currently on page 48 of Do Not Disturb. This is the library copy. I also downloaded it on my tablet, so if I go to the beach, I will probably just take my tablet because it's just lighter and easier to carry. And, honestly, because I read The X on my tablet, I think that it might be faster reading on the tablet because I have it set to scroll, where I can just scroll the pages instead of flipping the pages, and I feel like I can read faster, or I can get through more just by scrolling little by little through the pages than I can flipping the pages of a physical book. So I don't know, I have to see. Maybe if we do another Freida vlog. I know she's got another book coming out soon. She did not say when. Jen and I did listen to a podcast that she did, sponsored by Barnes & Noble. Well, I wouldn't say it's a podcast. It was more like an author event more than a podcast. She and another author were kind of talking, and the other author was interviewing her, and I can't think of the other author's name off the top of my head, but they were both thriller authors, and she was asking Freida a lot of questions, and Jen and I kind of discovered a few things about Freida. The first thing that I remember learning is like her process of writing books. It kind of shocked me. She said she just thinks about the books for 3 or 4 months, and then when she could get a couple of weeks off, she would just sit and write the book in 2 to 4 weeks. Just write like a mad woman, she said, and get it pumped out. So that just seems like super fast. Like, I know a lot of authors take years, if not years, at least months to write a book. I could imagine if I was writing a book, it would take me a very long time. So that's pretty impressive how she just thinks about this book and gets it going in her head, and then sits down and she writes it in a couple of weeks. Like, that's impressive. But she is a full-time doctor, and so she's had to kind of write novels in between working and when she can get time off. So she is a very active woman that is just, I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she balances family and working full-time as a doctor and then writing. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot on your plate, and I commend her for doing that. Right now I'm gonna sit here on my balcony and read a little bit. If y'all want to see my view, I can show you the view. Hold on. You probably hear a lot of cars in the background because we're sitting right on a road. So like, there's this road right in front of our condo, and then right on the other side of the road there's some houses, and it's the beach. So we literally just walk past the pool and go right onto the beach. So let me show you guys. So yeah, this is where I'm staying. Right behind these houses is the ocean. You can kind of look in between here and see the ocean and the beach right there between that house a little bit. It's kind of hard to tell on through the camera lens and the palm tree right there, but yeah, let me see if I sit down here, you can see it. Yeah, see right there? That is the beach. So yeah, this is my view from my balcony. There's our pool.
All right, I just flew through a bunch of pages. They never, it doesn't take that long to get through her books. They just keep you very engaged, even if there are turtles involved. So I made it up to part 2, and if you don't want any spoilers, I have to say something that is potentially a spoiler. So move along if you don't want to hear any spoilers. Okay, so I was right. It was giving Gone Girl, and I am assuming everyone knows what I mean when I say that. What it means, it's based on Gillian Flynn's book. I read the book and saw the movie, and the character in that book sets it up so her husband is accused of her murder, and she hides out and wants to watch it, which is basically what Dawn is doing. But there were a couple of twists. I'm not going to mention the twists because I knew she's going to have other twists in here. But the main part of what I guessed was accurate, that she did set up Natalie to take the fall for her murder. But I don't have much because I'm at part 2, but it's like I'll be done like in an hour. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of twists if Miss Freida does what she normally does. So I'll see you in an hour.
Okay, so let's talk for a minute about Do Not Disturb. As I mentioned, I'm on page 48, and this book just starts from the beginning, just ripping. Like, it's just from the well, I'll just read you the first sentence. The first sentence is a good one. So you're from the point of view of Quinn, and the first sentence is, while I'm washing the blood off my hands in the kitchen sink, the doorbell rings. I'm sorry, there's a big truck driving down the street in front of the condo, so we'll wait for that to, it's kind of loud, so I'm just gonna wait. There are a lot of like restaurants and you know, beach little bars and huts, and a little bit like there's a winery up the street, so you do get a lot of loud trucks driving down the street, like big semi trucks delivering things for the shops on the beach. And then also you'll have a lot of cars that cruise this little strip. It's a little bit more at nighttime, but once it starts getting like sunset time, these people will get in cars and little golf carts, and they'll cruise up and down the strip, and they'll play music and stuff, so it can get loud. So I apologize if it gets loud. So far you're following Quinn, and it appears that she is in an abusive relationship. She has a very rich, very powerful husband. He's very controlling, and he got a little out of hand. He's abusive physically. She talks about there's been bruises on her, and she has to hide her bruises and this and that. And I guess one night he snapped, and he said, you know, you have embarrassed me for the last time, and he was like choking her, and she grabbed a knife and killed him, and he's lying dead in her kitchen, and she's on the run. So we will see. That's only, I'm on page 48, so that's only the very beginning of the book. That's how far I am in the book right there, my little clip. So yeah, I mean, so far it's taken off. It's gone by really quickly, and I'm gonna sit and probably read here for another hour or so, and then start packing some sandwiches and head down to the beach.
All right. I finished, and more twists happen. I'm not gonna mention them. You got the main twist from me. But you have to read it to see all the other twists. And she did her classic. I was starting to actually air more on like a 3-star. I don't know. I think it's just you end up reading these again and again, and maybe I just need to read something else so that it doesn't feel like the same thing again and again and again. But she did do a couple twists that I didn't necessarily see coming, kind of. But I would say I still liked The Inmate and Housemaid more. This didn't trump either of those books. And it might be because those were more the first, some of the first ones I read by her. I don't know. I am still going to be reading The X and Do Not Disturb for this vlog. But before I do, I'm going to read something in between because I feel like I'm not going to like them as much if I go right into them. I think I just need to break it up and read something else. A palate cleanser. But still, I would still recommend this. This has still kept me riveted. I did give it 4 stars after the end. Even though I guessed part of it, she still kept me on my toes and had a couple more twists in there. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not giving away the twists. But after I start the next 2, I will record once again to give you some thoughts. I have an update about The X. I am about 100 pages in. I started it last night, and it was one of those books that I wanted to keep reading, but I also needed to get some sleep. I am off today, but I have some errands to run. I am probably going to read a bunch today because I'm off, so there's a chance I might finish this because it is going really fast. I'm loving it so far. It just feels like a guilty pleasure almost. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just good. And so in the 100 pages that I read so far, one of the things that I loved, just in the prologue alone, I love the fact that she ends it by saying, let me get to it, I never meant to kill anyone, I swear. And I feel like Freida is leading us to think, because she doesn't say who she's killed, she's leading us to think that the ex, because that's the prologue, is from the ex's perspective, that she's killing the new girl. So the prologue goes over setting us up how she breaks up with her boyfriend Joel, though she thought that he was going to propose. And I don't feel like we have the backstory yet of necessarily why he wants to break up with her. He has an epiphany. He's a doctor, HD, hot doctor, and I didn't make that up. It's in the book. But you don't really get why he broke up with her particularly. And you're starting to get, through the 100 pages, you get kind of a sense that something else may be the reason why he broke up with her. So I like the way this is set up because it's alternating perspectives. So you get the ex's perspective, and then you get Cassie, who is titled The New Girl. So the chapters are either saying the ex or the new girl. And Cassie, I'm actually really liking her, though she seems like she's going to be a complicated, probably full of twists character. So she's not some innocent, new girl for this guy named Joel, but she was telling a story about her grandparents. She inherited a used bookstore in New York that her grandparents owned, and they have this beautiful love story, and I absolutely love it, based on the book Wuthering Heights, which I actually need to read. It's one of the classics that surprisingly I've never read, and it's just right up my alley in terms of, I loved classics growing up, but it was never assigned to me in school. But that was just a side note. Anyway, so we're going back and forth between the ex and Cassie, and we're finding out bits of information along the way. But I am not going to be fooled into thinking that the ex is just going to kill the new girl. I think something else is up Freida's sleeve. So we shall see. I'm sure she'll have many twists as usual. I don't have any theories yet. I'm just enjoying reading, to be honest, because it's really good. Like I said, guilty pleasure. So the other thing is I'm going to go do some errands today, but one of my errands I was thinking of maybe taking you guys along with is I have to get a literary type, book type gift. And there's a place called Books and Company that's at a shopping plaza not too far away from where I live. I haven't gone there in a while, but they tended to have like really nice book gifts. And I have to get someone a work anniversary gift, and a bookish gift would be perfect for him. But I love their gift product there. They tend to have a lot of like Alice in Wonderland stuff, which I love. So I was thinking of taking you guys along as I head out over there. Hopefully I get to that task today. But after that, I'll be reading a lot more and letting you guys know what I think.
Hey, reading update time. I got back from the beach. I had a great time. It is so nice, relaxing out there in the shade of an umbrella, a nice breeze coming in, the warm sunshine warming up the beach, especially after yesterday with it being so rainy. And I have a reading update for Do Not Disturb. I am further along in the book. Honestly, in the beginning of the book, Gwen has killed her abusive husband, Derek, and she starts trying to run because he's very powerful and very rich, and she's worried that his family is going to come after her and hurt her or her sister, because she has a sister that she's close with. As far as I can tell, so far that's her only family. Her parents passed away when she was younger, so her older sister has been taking care of her, and she's really upset about leaving her sister. And I was under the impression the story was going to be about her running from the law while trying to figure out how to have some peace in her life and prove that her husband is abusive and that what she did was self-defense. But it appears that she has been on the run, and she's checked into a really seedy hotel, and there's this guy that keeps working the hotel, and he talks about a wife that's very ill, and he lives in this house that's kind of behind the hotel, so it's like within walking distance. Him and his wife run the house. There's only one other person staying in this hotel, and it is a permanent resident, I guess you would call her. She's lived there for many years. She was a fortune teller with the circus, so she used to travel around the country doing circus, and she would do fortune telling. So she's a little bit odd. She offers to give Gwen a fortune telling session, and she says no. And this lady, this fortune teller, seems a little odd. She is fairly nice though. Gwen asked to borrow a pair of socks, and she did manage to scrounge up a pair of socks, even though they weren't to Gwen's liking. But she did let her borrow some socks, and Gwen seems to be a little trapped at this hotel with this very eclectic group of characters. So we will see how this goes. It's kind of given me Norman Bates vibes with the hotel and everything, and the kind of the younger, I mean, he's not young, the guy that's running the hotel, he's probably like midlife. Like, I don't think he's like young, but he's not old either. So he is just a little odd. It's kind of, like I said, giving me Norman Bates vibes. So we'll see where this goes. But I feel like, especially now, given the title of the book, I feel like most of the book's going to be based on her being trapped in this motel and having to survive and get out.
All right, I read a bunch today, but first show you my mini little purchases that I got at, well, actually it says Books A Million on the outside, but the name of the store is Books and Company, so I think Books A Million just owns them. But the first thing is, it's called book trackers, and it's bookmarks that you can write the title on the spines, which I thought was really cool. So this is going to be a nice little bookish gift I was going to put in the card that I got for my work friend. And then I also got for another friend, I got these, definitely not for me even though I want them because they're Alice in Wonderland. They're little book clips for Alice in Wonderland, but I did get myself an Alice in Wonderland bookmark. And I really like this one, just how it's made. I thought that was cute. Anywho, I did read another 100 pages. I didn't finish, but it's flying. I mean, I'm probably still going to read some more tonight because, you know, staying up reading is a thing. So, what do I say about the next 100 pages? And it's not even about not giving a... It's not about spoiling anything because I don't feel like this book is a little different for me. I feel like it's not your typical psychological thriller from Freida. There's not a lot of twists so far, and I'm over 200 pages in. I feel like this one is saving a lot more for the end, which is interesting. And I don't really have any theories. I've just enjoyed a lot the story. And the rotating narratives between the ex and the new girl is what she calls them. And they both seemingly have a past. And there's hints as to what it could be, but you don't really get any information. So I think there's going to be a roller coaster ride at the very end, which is going to be interesting. So I am very much enjoying this, and so far this could, unless something really crazy happens at the end, this could be my favorite from Freida from what I've read so far. So I'm liking this probably more than I have the other ones that I have read by her. But we'll see. The ending could change my mind. So if I don't finish it tonight, most likely I'll finish it tomorrow night, and then the next one is Do Not Disturb.
Hey guys, so excited. Today's Tuesday and we are going to the pier today. My husband loves to go to the pier because he loves to go fishing, but I love to go to the pier because we always get to see animals. We always see seagulls, of course, on the pier, and we always see dolphins. Sometimes in the past we have seen some sharks, and we have seen some turtles, and we have seen a stingray. So I don't know what we're gonna see today, but I'm excited. I like to walk the pier and look for the animals, and then after that I'm leaving my husband so he can go fishing, and I get to go book shopping. So I will bring you guys along with me. I do want to stop at Barnes because there is a new book out that I want to pick up, and I did see a second in Charles down the street from where I'm staying, so I'm really excited about that because I've never been to second in Charles. There's none in the area that I live. I think Jen has been to a second in Charles, and we put that in a vlog before, but I've never been, so I definitely want to go check out the second in Charles store as well. So let's go.
I finished, and I was absolutely, like, I don't even know how to describe the last like 40 pages. I felt, and I actually had taken it to work with me, and I don't typically do that because on breaks I'm usually eating really fast just to get back to work, and I can't concentrate when I'm at work on reading something, but I so wanted to keep reading that I took it to work with me. And then I read the plot twist when I was on lunch, and I literally felt like the room was spinning. I felt like it broke my brain. I couldn't figure out, like, I was trying to think of everything I had read and like, how could that be? What? Anyway, this is now my favorite Freida book. I do feel like, though, that the ending was rushed. I wish that some things had been more written out than they were. I'm not going to say, because I would definitely not want to ruin this twist for anybody. I felt it was similar to how I felt at the twist with Silent Patient, where I just had not seen it coming, and it makes you rethink the whole book you just read. So I definitely loved this book, and I'm not going to say too much else because I will talk about all three after I finish the next one, which is Do Not Disturb, which I have in the other room. So, but this one, mind blown about this one. My new favorite. So now on to Do Not Disturb.
Just came out of the Barnes. The book I was looking for, I think that I got the wrong release date because they didn't have it, and I looked it up in the Barnes & Noble app, and it's actually not coming out till March, but I could have swore the publisher's website said it was coming out today, which is September 5th, but I don't know, maybe they changed it, or maybe I was looking at a UK release date or something. I don't know, but didn't get the book that I wanted. I did pick up Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo because I was wanting to get that book. I've been wanting to read it, and it was on sale today in this particular Barnes, so I went ahead and picked it up. But we are going now to check out Second and Charles. I don't have anything in mind to get at Second and Charles. I just really want to see the bookstore. It's a bookstore I've never been to, so really excited to go see that. So let's go.
I am about 150 pages in, and this one isn't that long, so it's almost about halfway through. It just goes so fast with Freida. I mean, the pages just flip. So how do I want to say this? So I'm not sure if she's doing this tongue-in-cheek, because I do feel it's purposeful. And because she even references a movie, and I don't think... Let me stop. So, very much feels like the plot of Psycho. And I did read a review that said it was just like Hitchcock. But it's not exactly, I mean, it's like a twist on the premise of Psycho. And obviously it's modern day, and there are differences. It's not exactly the story of Psycho so far, because I didn't even get that far. I don't know if it's going to have the same twist of the end that Psycho did, or if she's going to do the Freida treatment and have like several different twists. But she references the movie because Quinn, and she calls herself Kelly as she runs away from something that I won't mention, even though it's like in the first chapter. Well, since it's in the first chapter. So she seemingly kills her husband in the beginning, and she freaks out and runs. And she ends up getting stuck on the road because of a storm, and she goes to a motel. And what's funny is Freida even calls the motel Baxter Motel, and the Hitchcock version it's Bates Motel. So I feel like it's very much Freida being tongue-in-cheek or referencing Hitchcock on purpose. I don't think this is her trying to steal a plot. I really don't feel like that's it, because why would she be that obvious? And she even references how she doesn't want to take a shower because she saw a movie where the woman gets killed in the shower, which is Psycho. So I'm not sure what she's doing, and obviously I'm only about halfway through, so maybe something else will happen. It's already changed perspective to Quinn's sister, Claudia, which is also how it happened in Psycho, is that you then go to the perspective of the main character, and I don't remember the character's name in that movie. But I love Hitchcock, by the way. Hitchcock is like, not the person, I mean the movies, but The Birds and Psycho and Vertigo are some of my favorite movies, including Shadow of a Doubt, like all of those. I mean, obviously I like thrillers, so I'm gonna love Hitchcock. But it's interesting so far, and I was just working through my brain all the stuff that I know. I haven't seen Psycho in a while, so, but I'm recalling it as we're going along, and I'm just curious to see what she does with her version, I guess, of Psycho. So it's not going to take me that much longer. Let's see what happens.
Hey guys, quick update. I'm on chapter 18 of Do Not Disturb, which is about a third of the way through, maybe almost half. And so far I'm liking it. We just started getting a second point of view. So in the beginning we were following Quinn, who, as I mentioned earlier, killed her husband in self-defense, and she's on the run, and she has found this kind of spooky hotel to hang out at. And now we're getting the point of view of Quinn's sister, who is a couple of years older. They're very close, and she's found out that Quinn's husband is murdered and her sister's missing. So we're starting to follow her, get her point of view. I really liking the book so far, liking the vibe. It's kind of creepy, kind of scary, like I said, kind of Bates Motel. And I'm just not sure where this book's gonna go at this point, but we will see.
I have reached the end of all 3 Freida McFadden books, and I didn't really have a video for the end of Do Not Disturb for a couple reasons. I had started to make a video, and the unfortunate part of everything I want to talk about with the end of this is spoiler ridden. So I was trying to think on how I can talk about it without the spoilers. And I talked it out with Amanda actually on the phone today, and we talked for a while, and I got out what I was thinking about it. So it didn't go where I thought it would go, and I don't even want to say where I thought it would go, because that in essence is going to be like a spoiler, or at least tell you what it's not. And I wasn't exactly happy with where it went. I saw so much potential with what she could have done with a twist on the Psycho Alfred Hitchcock story movie, and she went completely out of left field, and I didn't guess it, and I didn't necessarily like what she did. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And so she did shock. There are twists, which are what Freida does best. So what me and Amanda decided to do is we are going to go over our favorite of these 3, our favorite overall for Freida, and then which one we didn't like, the least liked one of these 3, and then the one that we liked the least of all of it, and then our most anticipated next Freida read. Because obviously, spoiler alert there, I want to still read Freida, because she has the page turner. She makes you keep coming back for more. So of the 3, which are Do Not Disturb, The Ex, and The Coworker, the one I liked the best is The Ex. I felt like The Ex, for me, of the books I've read by Freida in general, was different in how it was set up, and it was different that a majority of this book wasn't really, like, to me, not really a psychological thriller. It was such build up, but I love the story that she was telling between the 2 women perspectives that you were getting, and you got a romance perspective, and you did get some of that like jealousy in there too, but it was all like, I don't know, it was so different. It wasn't like crazy. And even though I love that about her books, this was a little different. So I was like, what is she doing? So it was like anticipatory for me, because I thought, okay, she's doing something different, and what am I going to expect? And then for this one, every time I talk to someone about this, it just makes me laugh, because everyone's just like, what? And when I read the twist in this one, I seriously, because it came out of left field, I seriously was like feeling reality like warped, like the room spinning, what is happening, because it was so out of left field and so crazy to me that I start questioning everything that I had read and questioning motives of people, and you then get the rest of the story. The only complaint I have about this one is that I felt the ending really rushed. So I was so headed to a 5 for this one. I ended up giving it a 4 stars, and very reluctantly, by the way, because I loved it so much, only because the ending was rushed. So loved this one.
Okay, so you might be wondering, what is my favorite? My favorite of all 3 of these books that I read. So what is my favorite of all three of these books that I read? Amanda, which book would you just most recommend for everybody? And this is a very, very tough question. It really came down between The Ex and The Coworker, because The Ex was unlike any book that I ever read before. It gripped me, it got me in. The Coworker, I just love Dawn's point of view character. It was very close, but my favorite, if I had to pick one of all three, is The Ex. I just found this book so gripping and intriguing and compulsively reading, and I just read it all basically in one setting on the drive to the beach, and I couldn't put it down. It was amazing. So please, it's one of her older books that was released. Please, if you love Freida McFadden and psychological thrillers, just give this book a try. You won't regret it.
And it is now my overall Freida pick. I love this one more than any of the others. Other than these three, we did read 4 others in a previous vlog, and we read Housemaid, Housemaid's Secret, The Inmate, and Never Lie. Of the ones back then, Inmate ended up overtaking Housemaid, but barely. I felt like Housemaid and The Inmate were my favorites, and this one like surpassed it for sure. This one is just fantastic. I love this one so much. This is a great book. I suggest anyone who loves thrillers, especially with like a romantic element to it, this one would be the one to read.
My favorite Freida McFadden book of the 7 books that I've read overall is still gonna be Never Lie. I just loved the vibe of that book. If you're not sure what Never Lie is about, then check out our first Freida McFadden vlog. But that's still my favorite. It's still my favorite of all the books. I just loved the twist. I loved the vibe. I loved the spooky house. I love the psychologist character. It just sucked me in, and that's still my favorite.
The one that I like the least of these is Do Not Disturb. I mean, you guys might have got that from what I just said, and because I did really like The Coworker, I felt like that one, even though it reminded me of Gone Girl, I really like that book. She made it her own. It wasn't like, oh, point for point it was Gone Girl or anything like that. It's just the twist was very much Gone Girl. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And I hope it doesn't ruin it for anybody. Maybe Amanda needs to put a spoiler alert before I say that when she edits this. But Do Not Disturb is probably my least favorite of these 3. It was just, I didn't really like the twist for this one. And I want to be careful about what I say about that, because I don't want to give that one away. Because there's probably people that would like this twist, I'm thinking. Especially if you didn't read Psycho. Didn't watch Psycho. I don't even know if Psycho's based on a book. But if you hadn't watched Psycho, you probably wouldn't be making those connections. I don't know how, because it's such a classic film. I love Alfred Hitchcock so much. But if you hadn't seen that, you might actually like it. But there's something I really want to talk about. There's an element that I'm just not going to talk about because it would ruin it. There's an element in this that I'm just not a fan of, and like a plot device. And I'm going to refrain from saying it because it would ruin this book.
So my least favorite of all 3 of these books is Do Not Disturb. Again, I love this book. I recommend it. It's not a bad book at all. It's just, if I had to pick a least favorite of the 3, this is the one that I would say is my least favorite. But again, it's still highly recommended.
I would say overall, between all of them, Never Lie is probably my still least favorite of them. For some reason, that one just didn't connect too much. I thought that one had possibility. It definitely had possibility too. I love the setup of that one. It really reeled me in. I didn't want to put it down. But after having read so many now and ranking them, I feel like that one just didn't play out as well as I thought it would. and I didn't particularly like how the end of that book ended up going, from what I remember.
My least favorite overall of all of the 7 books that I've read is still going to be The Housemaid, only because I read a book with that same trope and I just knew from the beginning what was going to happen in the story, so it wasn't as shocking to me as it was to the other readers. That being said, I loved that book and I recommend it. And even if an author uses the same trope, it happens all the time in rom-com. There's friends to lovers, forced proximity, grumpy sunshine, all those tropes get used all the time in rom-coms over and over. So, you know, it's the same in thrillers. So I still loved the book. I had a great time reading the book. But of all of the books, all of the Freida McFadden books, that one's my least favorite because it was the most predictable for me.
The most anticipated Freida book that I would want to read next is, and I know she has a fair amount out, and she has one coming out in February called The Teacher that she did announce. I think I'm going to put footage in, so you may have already seen it if I put it when I edit this, about her. She did a web interview with Barnes & Noble, and she announced The Teacher coming out in February. I haven't read Locked Door either, but the one that I really wanted us to include for this time, and we just didn't for this round, is called The Wife Upstairs. I think I had heard that one is similar. I know there's another thriller out there called The Wife Upstairs. I don't know if that's the one it's saying it's similar to, but I feel like that would be the one I would pick next. If we were to do another Freida one, I would think the next time we do one might be when The Teacher comes out, and then pick several books that we haven't read by her yet.
So we thought it would be fun to talk about, of all the books Freida McFadden has written, which books do we want to read the most now that we haven't read yet? And I was researching her books, and it came really down between 2, Suicide Med and The Locked Door. So I love the dark academia feel, and Suicide Med, you're following a woman in med school, and she's so excited to get accepted to this med school, but every year there is a student that commits suicide, and once she gets into school, she is under a lot of pressure. She starts doing bad in her classes, and then she starts thinking about suicide, and she starts wondering, like there's this weird professor in the school, and she starts wondering, the suicide started when he started going to school here, so what's going on? And she starts digging into that. So that seemed very intriguing to me to kind of uncover that mystery. And The Locked Door, you're following a woman who's a doctor, and when she was a child, her father was a serial killer, and she had no idea he was a serial killer, but he got arrested for it. And she grows up living a seemingly normal life. She's a doctor, very successful, but she also has a locked door in her house, and you're not sure what's going on behind that locked door. They kind of allude to the fact that she might be murdering people and keeping them in this locked room in her house, but you don't know. If I had to pick one that I'm most anticipating, I'm gonna go with The Locked Door. I think I'm most excited to read that one next and kind of unravel that mystery between the father, serial killer, and his daughter, who seems to live a normal life, but she's also got some dark secrets of her own.
So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on our next vlog.